Perched majestically on the European shore of the Bosphorus Strait, Dolmabahçe Palace stands as a breathtaking testament to a bygone era. Its sprawling white marble facade, ornate gates, and opulent gardens whisper tales of imperial splendor. Yet, beneath this veneer of grandeur, a complex history of power, intrigue, and unresolved mysteries lies hidden. This palace, often overshadowed by the ancient Topkapi, holds secrets far more chilling and personal, intimately tied to the twilight years of the Ottoman Empire. Commissioned by Sultan Abdülaziz I in the mid-19th century, Dolmabahçe represented a radical departure from the traditional Topkapi palace. The Sultan sought to modernize the imperial residence, aligning it with European tastes and standards. Historians like Dr. Zeynep Çelik note this shift was not merely aesthetic but a bold statement of Ottoman self-perception amidst a rapidly changing world. It was designed to project an image of power, sophistication, and a future-oriented vision, yet its very creation embedded a deep paradox. The palace's construction began in 1843 and concluded in 1856, taking 13 years to complete. Its sheer scale and lavishness were unprecedented. Contemporary accounts, later corroborated by Ottoman financial records, indicate a staggering cost. The expense was not just a symbol of wealth but, for some, a symptom of the empire's burgeoning financial woes. The question remains, how much did this architectural dream contribute to the empire's ultimate economic collapse, and were these costs fully transparent? According to official court records, the construction of Dolmabahçe Palace cost an astonishing 5 million gold liras. To put this into perspective, some economic historians estimate this figure to be equivalent to approximately $1.5 billion in today's currency. This colossal expenditure funded not only the structure itself but also its extravagant interior decorations. Such a sum, during a period of increasing national debt, raises questions about fiscal responsibility and the priorities of the imperial court. The architectural style of Dolmabahçe Palace is a fascinating fusion. It boldly blends Baroque, Rococo, and neoclassical elements with traditional Ottoman design, a style known as Ottoman Revival. This deliberate blend, as architectural historians like Professor Godfrey Goodwin observe, was an attempt to both embrace European trends and assert a distinct Ottoman identity. The palace's aesthetics, while beautiful, masked the empire's internal struggles, projecting an image of strength that belied a deeper vulnerability. Sultan Abdülaziz I, the palace's visionary founder, enjoyed its splendor for only 5 years. He died within its walls in 1861, at the relatively young age of 38. While official records cite tuberculosis as the cause, some historians subtly suggest the stresses of his reign, coupled with a notoriously lavish lifestyle, may have contributed to his early demise. Was the pressure of governing a declining empire from such a costly symbol of modernity simply too much for the first resident of Dolmabahçe? Upon Abdülaziz I's death, his younger brother, Abdülaziz, ascended to the throne, becoming the second sultan to reside in Dolmabahçe Palace. His reign, from 1861 to 1876, was marked by both significant reforms and escalating financial difficulties for the empire. Unlike his predecessor, Abdülaziz was known for his interest in Western culture, traveling extensively through Europe, yet his rule would end in circumstances that remain one of the palace's most enduring and chilling mysteries. In 1876, Sultan Abdülaziz was dramatically deposed by a coup d'état led by a coalition of ministers. This was an unprecedented event in Ottoman history, marking a profound shift in power dynamics. He was confined to a small apartment in Topkapi Palace, and then later moved to Faray Palace, also on the Bosphorus. The official narrative claimed his removal was due to his perceived extravagance and his resistance to constitutional reform. However, the true motives behind his deposition and the speed of subsequent events fueled historical debate. Just 4 days after his deposition, Sultan Abdülaziz was found dead. The official report stated he committed suicide by cutting his own wrists with scissors. This claim, however, immediately ignited widespread suspicion and debate, questions that persist to this day. How could a man of his stature, even in confinement, perform such a violent act on himself, especially with palace guards nearby? This event became one of the most controversial and fiercely debated episodes in late Ottoman history. The official suicide narrative was supported by testimonies from palace staff and a doctor, who claimed the Sultan was in a state of deep despair. Yet, many within and outside the imperial court found this explanation implausible. The specifics of the injury, severed arteries on both wrists, raised eyebrows. Could one person, even in distress, inflict such wounds on themselves? The lack of a thorough, independent investigation at the time only deepened the mystery, sowing seeds of doubt that would never fully dissipate. Despite official pronouncements, the popular belief persisted that Abdülaziz had been murdered. Numerous reports, circulating discreetly in Istanbul, suggested he was assassinated by the very regicides who had deposed him. These whispers implied that a powerful faction sought to eliminate any possibility of his return to power, silencing him permanently. The palace, once a symbol of modernity, now became a potential stage for a brutal, hidden act of political violence, staining its reputation. Years later, under the reign of Sultan Abdülhamid II, who had a vested interest in discrediting his predecessor's coup, the case of Abdülaziz's death was reopened. These later investigations, conducted with a clear political agenda, concluded that he was indeed murdered. Evidence was presented suggesting several individuals involved in his deposition were also implicated in his death, further complicating the official narrative. However, given the political climate, the impartiality of these inquiries remains a point of contention for modern historians. To this day, the true circumstances surrounding Sultan Abdülaziz's death remain one of Dolmabahçe Palace's most profound and unresolved mysteries. Historians continue to debate whether he took his own life in despair or was brutally murdered to secure the new regime. The inability to definitively answer this question underscores the volatile nature of Ottoman politics during this period and how easily truth could be manipulated or obscured. The palace itself, a silent witness, holds no easy answers. Following Abdülaziz's deposition and death, his nephew, Murad V, briefly ascended to the throne. He also resided at Dolmabahçe, but for a mere 93 days. Murad's reign was plagued by mental instability, which many attributed to the stress and trauma of the coup and the events surrounding his uncle's death. Historians suggest his fragile mental state was exploited by ambitious factions, making his short time on the throne a tragic and politically charged interlude in the palace's history. Murad V was eventually deposed due to his perceived incapacity and confined to Saragan Palace, a neighboring imperial residence, for an astounding 28 years until his death. This lengthy imprisonment, overseen by his brother Abdülhamid II, ensured he posed no threat to the new sultan's rule. The severity of his confinement suggests a deeper fear within the Ottoman court, the fear of rival claims to the throne, and perhaps, the fear of what Murad V might reveal about the events of 1876. Abdülhamid II, who succeeded Murad V, initially resided in Dolmabahçe Palace. However, his reign was famously marked by intense paranoia and a deep distrust of plots and conspiracies. After a short period, he abandoned Dolmabahçe and moved the court to Yıldız Palace, which was easier to defend against potential sea attacks or internal uprisings. This move speaks volumes about the atmosphere of suspicion and intrigue that permeated the highest levels of Ottoman government in the late 19th century. Beyond its political dramas, Dolmabahçe Palace is an architectural marvel of astounding scale. It boasts 285 rooms, 46 halls, 6 hammams, Turkish baths, and 68 lavatories. This extensive layout was designed to accommodate the vast imperial household, state functions, and the intricate hierarchy of the court. Each room, meticulously decorated, served a specific purpose, from grand reception areas to intimate private chambers, all veiled in an aura of exclusivity and hidden activities. Perhaps one of the most striking details of Dolmabahçe Palace's interior is the sheer amount of gold used. Reports from the Directorate of National Palaces confirm that 14 tons of gold leaf were applied to the ceilings, providing a dazzling, albeit blinding, display of wealth. This incredible expenditure on ornamentation occurred during a period when the Ottoman Empire was increasingly referred to as the sick man of Europe, struggling with immense foreign debt. Was this glittering facade a deliberate attempt to distract from the empire's decaying foundations? Among the palace's many wonders is the majestic crystal staircase, also known as the imperial staircase. It features a double horseshoe shape, and its balustrade is crafted from baccarat crystal. Each step, each curve, reflects the light in a breathtaking display. This architectural gem was not merely functional but a theatrical element, designed to impress and intimidate visitors. What conversations, what intrigues, might have transpired on these very steps as dignitaries and courtiers ascended to meet the Sultan? The ceremonial hall, or Muayyid Salon, is dominated by the world's largest Bohemian crystal chandelier. Weighing a colossal 4.5 tons and illuminating with 750 lamps, it was a gift from Queen Victoria of Britain. This impressive gesture of diplomatic ties highlights the Ottoman Empire's engagement with European powers, even as its internal strength waned. Was this gift a symbol of genuine friendship, or a strategic move in the complex geopolitical chess game of the 19th century, masking deeper imperial ambitions? The palace houses an extensive collection of paintings by renowned European artists, including works by the famous Russian marine painter Ivan Aivazovsky. Sultan Abdülaziz, known for his appreciation of Western art, commissioned many of these pieces. These artworks serve not only as decoration but also as a demonstration of the Sultan's cultured tastes and the empire's embrace of European artistic trends. Did these cultural exchanges subtly influence political decisions or serve as a distraction from them? The harem section of Dolmabahçe Palace, with its own private chambers, baths, and reception areas, was strictly separated from the selamlik, the male public quarters. This was the domain of the imperial family's women, the sultana mothers, wives, concubines, and their attendants. Within these secluded walls, power struggles, alliances, and intrigues unfolded, often influencing dynastic succession and state affairs. What whispered secrets and unspoken desires were confined within these opulent but restrictive spaces? Throughout Dolmabahçe Palace, 131 magnificent hurrique carpets adorned the floors. These hand-knotted, silk and wool masterpieces, produced in the imperial hurrique factory, were renowned for their intricate designs and exceptional quality. The sheer number and value of these carpets underscore the palace's dedication to showcasing Ottoman craftsmanship and luxury. However, this dedication to lavish detail also raises questions about the immense cost and labor involved, often against a backdrop of wider societal hardship. The construction and continued maintenance of Dolmabahçe Palace became an increasingly heavy burden on the Ottoman treasury. By the late 19th century, the empire was heavily reliant on foreign loans, leading to the establishment of the Ottoman Public Debt Administration. This financial strain, as noted by economists, directly contributed to the empire's weakening sovereignty. The palace, intended as a symbol of strength, paradoxically became an emblem of financial mismanagement and the empire's slow, painful decline. After Abdülhamid II's self-imposed exile from Dolmabahçe, the palace saw a brief return to prominence with Sultan Mehmet V. Risad. Following the Young Turk Revolution of 1908, which curtailed the Sultan's absolute power, Mehmet V briefly resided there, symbolizing a reluctant embrace of a new constitutional monarchy. He would be the last Ottoman Sultan to officially reside in Dolmabahçe, marking the final chapter of imperial life within its walls, a quiet prelude to the empire's dissolution. The Ottoman Empire officially collapsed after World War I, and the Turkish Republic was founded in 1923 under the leadership of Mustafa Kemal Atatürk. This transformative shift meant Dolmabahçe Palace's imperial function ceased. No longer the seat of sultans, its future was uncertain. Would it fall into disrepair, or be repurposed? The new republic faced the challenge of deciding the fate of a building so deeply emblematic of the monarchy it had overthrown. Despite its imperial past, Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, the founder and first president of the Turkish Republic, chose Dolmabahçe Palace as his presidential residence when visiting Istanbul. This decision was highly symbolic. By occupying the former seat of power, Atatürk reclaimed the imperial grandeur not for a sultan, but for the people and the new republic. He breathed new life into the palace, transforming it from a symbol of antiquated monarchy into a vibrant center for modern Turkish statecraft. During Atatürk's time, Dolmabahçe Palace once again became a hub for diplomacy and international relations. He hosted numerous foreign dignitaries and heads of state within its opulent halls, projecting an image of a modern, confident Turkey on the world stage. These high-level meetings, far from the clandestine intrigues of the sultans, showcased a transparent and forward-looking nation, effectively erasing the shadows of its past with purposeful, public engagement. Beyond diplomacy, Ataturk utilized Dolmabahçe Palace for crucial national initiatives. In 1932, it hosted the first Turkish Language Congress, a pivotal event in the sweeping language reforms aimed at purifying Turkish and standardizing its vocabulary. This intellectual gathering within the walls of a former imperial palace starkly contrasted with its past, demonstrating a profound commitment to cultural and national identity. The palace thus became a cradle for the very essence of the new republic. 5 years later, in 1937, Dolmabahçe Palace again opened its doors to a landmark event, the Second History Congress. Here, Turkish historians gathered to redefine the national narrative, moving away from Ottoman-centric views towards a new, Turk-centric interpretation of history. By hosting such ideologically significant events, Ataturk cemented the palace's role not just as a residence, but as an active participant in shaping the identity and future of the Turkish nation. As the 1930s drew to a close, a different kind of shadow began to fall over Dolmabahçe Palace. Mustafa Kemal Ataturk's health, which had been deteriorating for some time, worsened significantly. The grandeur of his surroundings contrasted sharply with the private struggle he faced. The palace, which had witnessed the decline of an empire, was now preparing to host the final chapter of the man who had forged a nation from its ashes. In the autumn of 1938, Ataturk was confined to Dolmabahçe Palace, his condition critical. His personal doctors and staff attended to him around the clock in room 71, a modest chamber within the palace complex, far from the ceremonial grandeur. This period, extensively documented by his aides and published memoirs, reveals a man grappling with illness, yet still keenly aware of the nation he had built. His final days in the palace were a stark reminder of human vulnerability within monumental settings. On November 10, 1938, at precisely 9:05 a.m., Mustafa Kemal Ataturk passed away in Dolmabahçe Palace. The clock in his room famously stopped at that exact moment, a poignant detail that remains untouched to this day. His death marked the definitive end of an era, not just for him personally, but for the transition from the Ottoman Empire to the modern Turkish Republic. The palace bore witness to this profound moment, encapsulating a nation's grief and transformation. After Ataturk's death, Dolmabahçe Palace was no longer used as a presidential residence. Instead, it underwent another transformation, opening its doors to the public as a museum. This decision, made by the Turkish government, ensured that the palace's rich history, both imperial and republican, could be preserved and shared. It ceased to be a private domain of power and secrets, becoming a collective heritage, allowing citizens to walk through the halls where so much history unfolded. Today, Dolmabahçe Palace is meticulously managed by the Directorate of National Palaces, an institution dedicated to preserving Turkey's imperial and republican heritage. Their work involves ongoing restoration, archival research, and public education. This continuous effort ensures that the palace's structural integrity is maintained, and its stories, including its mysteries, are carefully documented and presented to future generations, allowing the past to inform the present. Visitors to Dolmabahçe Palace today can still feel the palpable presence of its past. The opulent halls, the ornate chambers, and the tranquil gardens seem to echo with the footsteps of sultans, the whispers of their courts, and the cries of a dying empire. The palace stands as a grand, yet melancholic, monument to a time of immense change, a period of both incredible luxury and profound instability, where personal fates were inextricably linked to national destiny. Among the many narratives, the fate of Sultan Abdülaziz remains the most haunting mystery of Dolmabahçe. Was his death a suicide born of despair, or a cold, calculated murder to cement a new political order? Historians and visitors alike continue to ponder this question. The palace walls, silent witnesses to his final days, offer no definitive answer, perpetuating a chilling ambiguity that adds to the palace's allure and historical significance. The palace's sheer splendor continues to evoke mixed emotions. On one hand, it is a masterpiece of design and craftsmanship, a beacon of artistic excellence. On the other, it represents an era of profound financial irresponsibility that arguably hastened the decline of a once mighty empire. This paradox, the beautiful exterior cloaking internal decay, is a central theme in understanding Dolmabahçe's place in history. It invites visitors to critically examine the true cost of imperial ambition. The harem section, though now open to the public, still guards its secrets. What were the true dynamics of power among the Sultan's wives and concubines? What untold stories of love, rivalry, and despair unfolded behind those ornate doors? While historical records offer glimpses, the full emotional tapestry of lives lived within those gilded cages remains largely speculative, leaving much to the imagination of those who walk its hushed corridors. Mustafa Kemal Atatürk's choice to die in Dolmabahçe Palace, the former seat of the sultans he deposed, is itself a poignant historical riddle. Was it a final symbolic act, marking the ultimate triumph of the republic over the monarchy? Or simply a practical decision, seeking comfort in a place designed for leadership, regardless of its history? His presence imbued the palace with a new, republican significance, forever linking the end of an empire with the birth of a modern nation. From Abdülhamit I's grand vision to Atatürk's final breath, Dolmabahçe Palace has served as a magnificent, yet silent, stage for some of the most dramatic chapters in Turkish history. Each sultan, each political shift, each personal tragedy has left an indelible mark on its marble and gold. The palace is not just a building, it is a repository of memories, an archive of an empire's last gasp and a republic's defiant rise. What if the walls of Dolmabahçe could speak? They would tell tales of dazzling balls and secret meetings, of lavish banquets and quiet desperation. They would reveal the true faces of power, the personal toll of leadership, and the clandestine battles fought far from the public eye. Though silent, the palace's architecture, its artifacts, and its enduring mysteries allow us to piece together fragments of these hidden narratives, inviting us to become amateur historians ourselves. The financial choices made during Dolmabahçe's construction and subsequent imperial use left a lasting legacy. The empire's escalating debt, partially fueled by such monumental projects, ultimately contributed to its geopolitical vulnerability. The palace serves as a stark reminder that even the most extravagant displays of power can mask profound weaknesses, and that financial decisions at the highest levels can have far-reaching, even fatal, consequences for nations. The blend of European and Ottoman styles in Dolmabahçe also signifies a deeper cultural clash and adaptation within the empire. While sultans embraced Western aesthetics, this often led to internal tensions between modernizers and traditionalists. The palace's very design reflects this ongoing struggle, a visual representation of an empire caught between two worlds, attempting to find its identity in a rapidly evolving global landscape. Its architecture is a testament to this complex cultural dialogue. Throughout its operational history, Dolmabahçe Palace was protected by layers of guards, courtiers, and servants, all bound by strict protocols and loyalty. These silent guardians were privy to many of the palace's hidden events, yet their testimonies were often controlled or coerced, particularly in sensitive matters like Abdülaziz's death. Their silence, then and now, forms another layer of mystery, suggesting that the full truth of many palace secrets was intentionally buried. The various sultans who called Dolmabahçe home each left their unique stamp on its legacy, from Abdülhamit I's innovative vision to Abdülaziz's tragic end and Abdülhamit II's wary retreat. Each ruler's story intertwined with the palace's narrative, shaping its reputation and deepening its mysterious aura. The palace became not just a residence, but an extension of their power, their ambitions, and ultimately, their vulnerabilities. Beyond personal dramas, Dolmabahçe was the setting for critical state secrets. Decisions that shaped the empire's destiny were made within its walls, often in hushed tones behind closed doors. Treaties were negotiated, alliances forged, and strategies debated, all under the cover of imperial protocol. The palace itself, therefore, holds not just domestic mysteries, but the secrets of international relations and military strategies that influenced global events. Today, Dolmabahçe Palace serves as a historical document, its very existence telling a complex story. It speaks of a longing for modernity, a struggle against decline, and the poignant end of an empire. Its secrets, whether political assassinations or the quiet suffering of confined royals, are integral to its identity. The palace's enduring voice is one of caution and intrigue, reminding us that behind every grand facade lies a tangled web of human stories. The architects of Dolmabahçe, Garabet Bulyan and his son Nigagayos Bulyan, envisioned a palace that would embody the new face of the Ottoman Empire. They blended European architectural trends with traditional Ottoman elements, not just for aesthetics but to signal a new political direction. Their design, however, became a canvas for the empire's internal conflicts, witnessing the very struggles it was built to overcome. The palace's secrets began with its very foundation, embedded in its ambitious design. The very name Dolmabahçe means filled garden, referring to the land on which it was built, reclaimed from the sea. This act of literally creating new land for the palace is symbolic of the Sultan's ambition to forge a new future for their empire. Yet, despite this bold beginning, the palace's history is largely one of shadows and endings. The reclamation of land mirrors the empire's struggle to reclaim its former glory, often against insurmountable odds. The Imperial Gate, or Sultanate Kapisi, stands as the grandest entrance to Dolmabahçe Palace. Adorned with intricate carvings and crowned with the Sultan's tugra, or calligraphic monogram, it was the ceremonial entry point for sultans and esteemed guests. This gate, a powerful symbol of imperial authority, welcomed those who shaped history and witnessed the departures of those who were deposed or deceased. Its imposing presence hints at the weight of power it guarded. The Selamlik, or official state apartments, was where the Sultan received dignitaries and conducted official business. Unlike the secluded harem, this section was designed for public display of imperial power and wealth. Yet, even within these public spaces, political maneuverings and secret negotiations undoubtedly took place. The smiles exchanged, the hands shaken, often masked ulterior motives and hidden agendas, making the Selamlik a stage for both transparency and deception. The vast ceremonial hall, with its enormous chandelier, was the setting for lavish banquets and state ceremonies, designed to project an image of unassailable power. Yet, it was also within these walls that the increasing fragility of the empire was most keenly felt by discerning observers. The cheers of the crowds, the clinking of crystal, might have inadvertently muffled the whispers of concern about foreign debt and internal unrest, a grand illusion for the declining empire. Beyond the marble walls, the sprawling gardens of Dolmabahçe offered a serene escape, yet even these tranquil spaces might have held their own secrets. Private conversations, clandestine meetings, or simply moments of quiet contemplation amidst political turmoil. The meticulously manicured landscapes, adorned with fountains and sculptures, provided a beautiful but deceptive calm, contrasting sharply with the turbulent currents of power struggles flowing within the palace. Adjacent to the palace, the Dolmabahçe Clock Tower, constructed later in 1895, stands as another silent sentinel. Its intricate mechanisms and elegant design, a gift from Sultan Abdülaziz II, marked the passage of time for both imperial residents and citizens. This tower witnessed every major event, every arrival and departure, standing stoically as history unfolded beneath its gaze, yet revealing nothing of the human dramas it observed. While not widely publicized, whispers of hidden passageways and secret chambers within Dolmabahçe Palace have circulated among staff and historians. Such features were common in older palaces, used for discreet movement, espionage, or escape in times of danger. Though unconfirmed by official tours, the possibility of these secret routes adds another layer to the palace's mystique, suggesting that even its grand design might have incorporated elements for clandestine operations or survival. Beneath the splendor, the imperial kitchens of Dolmabahçe Palace bustled with activity, feeding hundreds of residents and staff daily. These logistical hubs, often overlooked, were crucial for maintaining the lavish lifestyle of the court. What intrigues might have simmered alongside the elaborate meals? Gossip, alliances, and perhaps even plots could have been cooked up among the servants, far from the Sultan's watchful eye, yet intimately connected to the palace's daily life. Dolmabahçe Palace also contained a substantial library, filled with Ottoman, Arabic, and Persian manuscripts, alongside European texts. This collection represented the intellectual life of the court, a repository of knowledge and ideas. What controversial texts might have been discreetly accessed? What forbidden philosophies discussed? The library, a quiet corner of the bustling palace, could have been a silent conduit for revolutionary ideas, shaping minds in an era of profound change. For all its beauty and grandeur, Dolmabahçe Palace, like many imperial residences, could also be perceived as a gilded cage. The sultans, despite their absolute power, were often isolated, surrounded by courtiers with their own agendas. Abdülaziz, in particular, found himself vulnerable and ultimately confined. The palace offered luxury, but perhaps at the cost of genuine freedom and authentic connection, a beautiful prison witnessing the fragility of absolute rule. The widespread use of European furniture, clocks, and decorative arts within Dolmabahçe Palace, from French clocks to English silver and Japanese vases, signifies more than just aesthetic taste. It represents a deeper penetration of Western culture into the Ottoman elite's daily lives, potentially blurring traditional lines and fostering new cultural identities. This cultural osmosis might have fueled internal conflicts, adding another layer of silent tension within the palace walls. Dolmabahçe Palace remains a place of profound contrasts. Its external magnificence sharply contrasts with the empire's internal decay. The public image of power conflicted with the private struggles of its rulers. The promise of modernization often succumbed to conservative resistance. This tension between aspiration and reality, between facade and truth, is at the heart of its mysterious allure, inviting visitors to look beyond the surface and ponder the deeper narratives. The private chambers of the sultans within Dolmabahçe, particularly those of Abdülmecid I and Abdülaziz, were sanctuaries where personal thoughts and anxieties were perhaps most acutely felt. These intimate spaces, now part of the museum, offer a rare glimpse into the human side of absolute rulers. It is in these rooms, away from ceremonial duties, that one can almost imagine the heavy burdens they carried, and the quiet desperation that might have led to Abdülaziz's tragic end. The dramatic events surrounding the deposition and death of Abdülaziz, along with Abdülhamid II's subsequent paranoia, have naturally given rise to numerous conspiracy theories over the decades. From Freemason involvement to secret political societies, these theories attempt to fill the gaps left by incomplete historical records and official ambiguity. While many lack concrete evidence, their persistence highlights the enduring fascination with the dark undercurrents of imperial power. Throughout its existence, Dolmabahçe Palace has been more than just a building, it has been a silent observer of history in the making. From its opulent conception to its role in the birth of a republic, it has seen the rise and fall of leaders, the shifting tides of power, and the profound personal tragedies that accompany such monumental change. Its very stones are imbued with the energy of these events, an enduring monument to human ambition and its often dark consequences. The continuous efforts of historians, archivists, and palace curators aim to uncover more of Dolmabahçe's hidden truths. Through meticulous research into Ottoman archives, personal letters, and international diplomatic correspondence, new fragments of information continue to emerge. Each discovery adds another piece to the complex puzzle, shedding more light on the palace's many mysteries, even if a complete picture remains elusive, inviting ongoing investigation. The palace's role as a diplomatic center meant its grand ceremonies were often attended by foreign ambassadors, who would report back to their respective governments on the state of the Ottoman Empire. These reports, often critical, painted a picture of a lavish facade masking deep systemic weaknesses. Thus, Dolmabahçe became a global stage where the empire's decline was subtly, yet significantly, put on display for the world to observe. The stories and myths surrounding Dolmabahçe Palace, particularly those concerning Abdülaziz's death and Abdülhamid II's paranoia, hold immense power. They contribute to the palace's mystique and draw countless visitors, eager to feel the echoes of history. While historians strive for factual accuracy, the allure of unresolved mystery often captivates the public imagination, ensuring that Dolmabahçe's secrets will continue to fascinate for generations to come. Ultimately, Dolmabahçe Palace is a powerful site for introspection, inviting visitors to reflect on themes of power, wealth, sacrifice, and national identity. Its mysterious secrets serve as a potent reminder that history is rarely simple or fully revealed. Instead, it is a complex tapestry woven with known facts and tantalizing unknowns, continuously inviting us to probe deeper, question narratives, and seek out the human stories behind the grandest monuments. Even as a museum, Dolmabahçe Palace continues to unfold its story. Every restoration, every new archival discovery, subtly alters our understanding of its past. The secrets it guards are not static, but rather dynamic, shifting with new evidence and interpretations. This ongoing dialogue between past and present ensures that the palace remains a living entity, its mysteries enduring, inviting each new generation to explore its depths and ponder its untold narratives. From the enigmatic death of Sultan Abdülaziz to Atatürk's symbolic final breath, Dolmabahçe Palace stands as a magnificent, yet deeply unsettling, monument to an empire's final flourish and a nation's rebirth. Its walls, steeped in power, intrigue, and unresolved questions, continue to draw millions. The secrets of Dolmabahçe may never be fully revealed, but their enduring allure ensures that this jewel on the Bosphorus will forever remain a captivating enigma, inviting us to look, to listen, and to wonder.